This week on Segway Magic, we are doing the snark tag. It is just a tag that we made up using the actual tags that we use most frequently on the website. Number 1, contrivance brings people together. Name a work that relied too heavily on contrivance for your taste. I've blocked so much of this from my memory that I'm not even sure this is entirely accurate. I just know that when I read the word contrivance, a little voice in the back of my brain where the brain bleach hasn't reached said, Angel. Number 2, taking the parent out of parenting. So the question is, name your least favorite fictional parents. Logan Echol's parents from Veronica Mars, specifically Aaron, who is the actual worst parent because he is abusive, physically abusive, and just selfish, and that's like on top of being like a murderer and stuff. The second one I'm going to mention are the Wormwoods from Matilda. I watched the crap out of that movie when I was younger, but I read Matilda for the first time this year, and I was just so impacted by how much bad parenting and abusive parenting there is in that story overall. I know that was in the movie, like it existed in the movie, but something about Dahl's writing really brought it to life. Number 3 is the Sandy Cohen Eyebrow scale of non-negligent parenting. The namesake for this tag are really high up on my list. Sandy and Kirsten Cohen are wonderful. I love how involved they are in their children's lives. And something a little more recent and less obvious, I just finished reading, it was the last book I finished reading, Wonder by R.J. Palacio. It tells the story of a young boy with a facial abnormality who is going to school for the first time. The parents in the book, the Pullmans, are just wonderful. They love Augie so unconditionally, and the love that they share for their family is apparent not only to you, the reader, but to people outside of their family. Like, it's commented on by other characters how wonderful that family system is. Number 4, detecting the shit out of things. Name your favorite detective or story that features investigation. Kirsty predicted that I would mention Veronica Mars, and she is absolutely correct. She is just one of my favorite characters, like, ever. I'm also going to give a shout out to Nancy Drew. She's probably who we named this tag after because we cover the Nancy Drew files on the website. But I'm mentioning her, I mean, those books are awful. I'm mentioning her because one of our readers, Ryan, he mentioned playing Nancy Drew games, which were like not a thing that I was aware existed. And recently her interactive had a sale and I stocked up on like several of these games. I can sit down and play a Nancy Drew game from like start to finish, pausing only for like drink, nourishment, refreshment, and then I will sit down and keep playing the Nancy Drew game. It's really good for that, for like turning off my brain to the things that have stressed me. Number 5, 1430 on my SAT. Name your favorite intelligent character. Hermione Granger and the Doctor are two very obvious ones. For an actual answer though, I am going with A through L from the Fairyland series. A through L is a wyvern mixed with a library. He's part wyvern, part library. Though he only knows things that start with the letter A and go through the letter L, I feel like that's still a very wide knowledge base. Number 6, I hate this fictional character so hard. A fictional character you hate hard. I mention these guys a lot because they are consistently at the top of my most hated characters of ever list, and those are Christian Grey and Ezra Fitz. Number 7, dazzling you with my brooding. Name your favorite broody or emotional character. Jon Snow. I feel like he's in his emotions a lot. Jon Snow, it's hard to call him really a favorite. I really do like his character. It's also an extension of him being a Stark, but he's also at the Wall, which is like my least favorite location, and the plot lines there seem to drag. So he surrounds himself with things I don't like, but I really do like the character, so let's go with Jon Snow. Number 8, beware, actual trauma ahead. Work that legitimately traumatized you as a child. I was at my aunt's house and a bunch of the cousins were there and they decided that they wanted to watch a movie. My older sister was allowed to go into the room and watch the movie, but I was not, which I made a huge stink about. And they finally, just to shut me up, let me go into the room and watch the movie, and it was Crow, City of Angels. I don't know what that movie is about. I have never rewatched it. I couldn't even tell you if it was like for real scary or just like little kid scary, but it scared the pants off me. Number 9 is Teen Feels, a fictional work that gave you all of the feels. Of the stuff we've covered on the blog, I think the body, that episode of Buffy was the thing that gave me like the most feelings. And I remember that the weekend that I watched The Body, because that was the next episode we were going to recap on the site, I had also watched Doomsday, and at that point I was just watching Doctor Who for fun, so I watched The Body and Doomsday like back to back, and wow, that was a tough weekend. Number 10 is Team Heartless Cow. A more recent read that gave me none of the feels was The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Specifically, I remember going into it knowing that there was a thing that would happen that gave a lot of people feels, and when I got to it I was just like, that is it. Those are the 10 questions, and that is my snark tag. We're not tagging anyone specifically. What we're asking is that if you want to answer these questions, that you post up your video tomorrow on Segway Magic Saturday. If you would like to tag your friends at the end of your video, we encourage you to do that to keep this thing going.